Hello, distance learners. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you enjoyed your Monday off and you had some time to rest and hopefully have a little bit of fun. Today, what I would like to talk to you about are some of the different character types that there are in different movies, books, shows, and stories. Just so you guys can be aware of some different types of characters that there are, because eventually you guys are going to be writing your own narrative stories where you will have to have different characters, where you will have to develop and know certain things about them. So the types of character types that I would like to talk to you guys about today, the first group are the protagonist and antagonist. So a protagonist is a main character of a story, but specifically, they're a good guy. An example would be SpongeBob. Now, he does not have super evil villains in the same way that a lot of other TV shows and movies do. However, he has a lot of, he is more of the source of humor, and he definitely is a good character. The opposite of a protagonist is called an antagonist. They're a main character of a story or book too, but they are a bad guy. An example of an antagonist would be Darth Vader. Darth Vader is one of the most evil characters in the original Star Wars movies, and he is definitely a main character, but he's a bad guy. All right, the next type of character I want to talk to you guys about are primary and secondary characters. Primary characters are characters who the story is about. So an example would be SpongeBob again. SpongeBob has the whole show named after him. It basically follows his life. And while there are other characters that are a part of that show, he is the main character. So he is a primary character. An example of a secondary character would be Patrick Star. While he's important to the story and one of the main characters that is seen throughout the show a lot, and he's necessary for the show to exist and to be the way that it is, he is a secondary character, meaning that the show is not solely or about him or focused on him. The next type of characters I would like to talk to you guys about are static and dynamic characters. Static characters are characters that stay the same throughout all of the show, movie, or story. So static characters stay relatively the same. An example would be Patrick Star. Patrick Star, his personality is relatively similar throughout all of the episodes. While he has different moods and different things that he does, his personality doesn't really change. He doesn't ever really change who he is or what he believes or how he acts in any drastic way. An example of a dynamic character would be one that changes, and let me mention that a dynamic character is one that changes throughout the story. For example, if you guys had stories written about you guys would all be dynamic characters because you're not the same as you were when you were in second grade or probably even sixth grade. So you guys are changing and growing, so you would be dynamic characters. Another example of a dynamic character would be Darth Vader. In the beginning of the movie, of the beginning of the prequels of the first through second and third movies, he is a Jedi. And so he is a good character for the most part. So he evolves and he changes through some bad things that happen and some choices that he makes, and he changes into a Sith Lord or a bad character, an antagonist. The next type and last type of character I would like to talk to you about are round and flat characters. So round characters are characters who we know a lot about. We know what's important to them. We know who they love. We know what they like to do. We know what motivates them. We know a lot about them. An example of a round character would be someone like Stinky Pete from Toy Story 2. Toy Story 2, we learn in that movie, we learn about how and why he is doing all these awful things to Woody and Jessie, and we know about we learn about his backstory and why he is a villain, and why he wants to do these things. So we know a lot about him. We know a lot about his background. An example, the opposite of a round character is called a flat character. A flat character is one that we don't know a lot about. We might know one thing about them, or we might know a little bit about them, but specifically we don't know like their background story. So a good example of this is Dory from Finding Nemo. Dory is a flat character in the first movie because we don't know much about her backstory. We don't know much about her personality really beyond the fact that she forgets things a lot and she's kind of funny and kind of nice. So there's really not much that we know about Dory. We only learned a whole lot about Dory in her sequel, which is Finding Dory. So that's where we find out about Dory. And then she becomes a round character because we learned a lot about her. However, in the first Finding Nemo movie, she's a relatively flat character. right, so you guys are going to need to identify some of the character types that we see in the crossover in our assignment today. So I wanted to talk to you guys about this. If you have any questions about your assignment, you can always message me in Canvas or email me. You guys can follow the instructions on how to do that, and there should be a video explaining how to use it and complete the assignment. All right, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and goodbye.